Hello everyone, my name is BlackWatch and welcome to another episode of How to Play. In this week's episode we're going to be taking a look at shield operators in general. So it's not going to focus on any one of the three specifically. We're going to do some more stuff on them in the future. There'll probably be shorter videos as a result, but we're going to be focusing on the main mechanics of shield play, how to get the most out of using a shield, and what weapons are best to use with those operators. That's the only thing we're going to be covering specifically with the operators. Other than that, kick back, relax, enjoy this long-awaited video, and hopefully you'll enjoy the Fuse gameplay that comes with it. See you soon. So shields in Siege are one of those weird things where it can be the most infuriating thing in the world to use, but it can also be really, really fun to use. It genuinely depends on a lot of different factors, and that is number one, how much practice you've had. Number two, how much aggression the enemy team has. And number three, how good you are at reading the situation. But most of it comes down to your experience. So I'm going to go through different factors and different sort of baseline categories when it comes to things you should consider when you're playing as a shield operator. So one of the biggest things is your movement. You need to be aware of the exposure at all times. When you're moving around as a shield, your head will occasionally be exposed, particularly from enemies who have the high ground on you, so you need to be careful because they might be able to top you even though you're looking right at them. When you aim up with your shield, it doesn't make a difference. Your shield stays in the same position. It doesn't cover your head like it looks. On your screen it'll look like you're aiming up and your shield is coming up with you. In reality it's not. It will always be parallel to your position, so don't think that that's going to be the case. Also, your legs can be exposed when you're standing, your shoulders will be exposed when you're moving, but this is less of a problem now, as it used to be the case with Blitz, where you could get shot quite cleanly in the shoulder. But now, because of the hitbox changes, his shoulder's much harder to hit, and it's got a much smaller portion of hitbox, so it's a little bit safer. But always remember that your back is highly exposed, and any kind of 45-degree angle on you is enough to score a kill if they're quick enough. So make sure if you know someone's going to be there, that you angle yourself properly, that you can approach them, so the only thing they can fire at is your shield or your hand. And in that sense, don't spend too much time in the same place. That's the next tip. You want to keep as mobile as possible without sprinting around. The moment you sprint, unless you're Blitz, you're exposing your head, which is almost always going to be an instant headshot if someone's already engaged with you, because you're such an easy target. Open up your full body as you sprint forward, so just don't do that. Play it smart, play it slow, and if you need to, you can just crouch and approach them. They're going to be in a position where they'll feel under pressure. Particularly if you're a Blitz now, it's great fun to just close the gap and then slap them, but obviously you don't have that luxury when you're playing as Mont or Fuse. But in their cases, the weapon's going to make up for it, because the PMM is arguably the best semi-automatic pistol in the game. It's very high damage, very fast reload, and a reasonable ammo capacity. And then Mont has the revolver, which is also pretty solid, you know, only 6 shots, but it takes only about 2 of those shots to kill a 3-speed, and that's pretty impressive. Only drop your shield in completely safe areas or in necessary retreats. A necessary retreat would be if there's a nitro cell and you're not in a position to tank it. So you would want to turn around, sprint away after you've heard the nitro rip. You don't want to wait until it's thrown. So the moment you hear the duct tape get pulled, sometimes they'll be mucking about with you and trying to get you to fall back because they're setting it off. It's something that I do sometimes. I'll pull the nitro cell, and sometimes the noise will be enough to scare people away. You're better being scared away falsely than being blown up because you didn't run away. So turn tail, run, but make sure that you don't run too far because your back will be exposed. So you want to run a little bit and then turn around and face the explosion, because your shield will give you a level of immunity to the explosion that your back will not. You'll just get blown to hell if your fleshy bit is facing it. So use the shield to your advantage. And sometimes it might just be worth crouching and trying to tank the damage. It can be quite a big hit. A lot of the times it'll be about 50 damage for a close range hit from a nitro cell, even if you've got the shield there. But it's better 50 damage than a death, so make your mind up in the situation, but generally it's probably better just to eat it. Your shield's not completely safe, and you really need to be sure that you know that, and you need to be aware of the parts of you that are exposed when you're using the shield. So obviously, as soon as you ADS, your head is out, I'll talk about shield snapping later, which is one of the techniques that you'll see constantly throughout this video. It's probably the strongest offensive tool you have as a shield operator, but we'll go into that in a minute. So your head will be exposed the moment you ADS, so be sure about the target you're aiming for. Try and aim for people who are either unaware of you or are in a position to be shield snapped. If not, try and hip fire. If you're playing as Fuse, he has very good hip fire accuracy with the PMM. Mont's hip fire accuracy in general is not very good, but you're going to be playing more of a defensive support role with him than you would be an offensive role. Blitz's hip fire is okay, it's a good in-between between the two other operators, but if you need to do it, then just go for it. You've got the ammo capacity or you've got the accuracy, so you may as well use it rather than exposing yourself. If you're holding an angle on a window, for example, try and use the cover of the window. If you move to the right of it, your hand is going to be in cover, which is no longer exposed, makes you a little bit safer. Obviously your left shoulder's still there potentially, and parts of your legs if you're standing, but these are all just things you need to think about in the moment and prepare yourself for, so that you don't get wiped off the face of the earth because of your bad play. So in terms of general safety, your hands are weak, your legs are weak, and your ADS is weak. All of these things are the things that will get you killed. That and a lack of awareness, and the lack of awareness is a big factor. If you have a very aggressive team that's going to be doing runouts and peaks, don't put yourself in a position where you're overextended too deep into an objective where they can just hop out behind you and shoot you. You want to try and sweep and clear so that wherever you push, your left and right and your rear have already been cleared out and either have another operator ready to back you up, or you have sound knowledge that suggests that the whole place is safe and you can advance without getting flanked. Obviously, flanks are just the nature of the game, but a lot of the time you want to put yourself in a position where you're not exposed from those blind sides, because it's a big deal and it's kind of hard to counter that. If you feel like you're going to be attacked by multiple people, run away. It's not worth it. If you know that someone has a nitro cell, run away. It's not worth it, or at least bait the nitro out. So look through the different operators in the game that have nitro cells, learn who they are, and also learn who has impact grenades. It's less of a threat, but it's still a threat, and bear that in mind. So if you see a mute or a bandit, you can kind of assume they're going to have a nitro cell, and once they've set it off, just start counting. Yeah, I almost said a bad word. Counting down the number of operators who have a nitro cell still left on the team. And yeah, Doxybites is in the room with me, just laughing. Anyway, count down the number of operators who have one left, and just assume until you know otherwise that they have that particular gadget. And wait for the onslaught before you push. So if you're going to be sitting around and enjoying the company of an enemy who's launching bullets at your shield, just let them. Wait until they need to reload and then go for them. But absolutely don't overextend. Overextension is the #1 cause of death in any shield player. So be smart and just take your time. In terms of dealing damage, as I mentioned before, hipfire can be useful, but it is very inconsistent, so don't rely on it as your primary damage dealer. Aim high, around about the chest height, or if you're really confident, straight on the head. Obviously this is more difficult because the head's a small target and it can be mobile. With Mont and Fuse, as I mentioned earlier, you've got the advantage of being able to quickly burst down your targets because they have better pistols in general in terms of damage. But you want to aim and then dodge, so if you have to get into a straight firefight where you're not going to be able to shield snap, now quickly, shield snapping is what you've seen here, where you bring the crosshairs over your target and you aim at their head. You very quickly aim down the sights, and the moment the crosshairs come together and you look down the iron sights, you pull the trigger and then let go of the left trigger. It's almost guaranteed to be a kill because it's so quick that it's almost uncounterable. The only real way to get the kill as the defender is to be firing just before they actually set it off. So defenders, watch out for this. Shield players, make the most of it and just practice. A lot of it is just practicing, getting good at it. But if you have to do a regular firefight where you're just exposing yourself and shooting, aim in and then dodge. You know, crouch if you need to, or crouch and move to the side. Just don't be predictable. If you stand still, you're going to get clocked. Whereas if you reposition yourself quickly, you know, aim down sights and then crouch immediately, they could be aiming high for the head, and that moment of hesitation where they have to reposition the crosshairs onto your head, which is now a couple of feet lower, could be enough time to set up a lethal kill, or well, it would be a lethal kill, it wouldn't be a non-lethal kill, Jesus Christ, for yourself. So be smart and be swift as much as you can be when you're fat, 3 armor, bad, slow person. Be a good team player if you want to be. You don't have to be, but you're a shield, so you can tank damage where other operators can't. You're the only real tank in the game, unless you count Rook and Doc as that, but it's not really tanky to get slapped in the face when you've got limited healing powers. And make the most of the fact that you can take that damage. Communicate with your team, be the point man, particularly when you're playing as Mont. He can just fully extend and become almost invulnerable. So push forward, take that damage that your teammates can't, and use yourself as a mobile camera where you can just go around and give callouts to your team. Don't worry about stealth. Don't bother putting a suppressor on any of the guns, and don't bother not putting a laser sight on any of the guns. They're going to hear you coming before they see you coming, so trying to go around thinking you're going to be stealthy as any of the shield operators is moot, because they can hear the shield as you come around. So don't bother with suppressor, it's just a waste of damage. Same with the laser sight, you want to have that extra hip fire accuracy, make the most of it. Body block if your team is injured, if you can. Basically in that situation, if your teammate is gone down, slap in front of him and just stay there and try and block the shots that are coming towards him with your shield so that he has the time to crawl out the way and maybe get revived, or even just for you to stall enough for a teammate to come to pick him up. If you're soloing as a shield, Blitz and Fuse are definitely the better options. They have the stronger offensive capabilities. Fuse has a better pistol. Blitz, on the other hand, has the ability to sprint and flash people, which is very, very strong in one-on-ones. And put pressure on the enemy, you know, close into close positions as much as you can, because when they're in that situation, they're going to panic more, especially against a Blitz now. If he's running towards you, even though his legs are fully exposed, it's not that easy to aim down, because you've got to worry about the fact that this massive German is sprinting at you with a big flash shield. So definitely make the most of that. Doesn't work as well with Fuse, but he can hip fire, and he can hip fire very accurately. So crouch down and just spam that. You can reload during the firefight if you need to with Fuse. That's one of the big things with him, is that you can very quickly reload. So if you do run out of ammo, figure out how long it takes to reload, get into cover for even just a split second. It's normally enough to be able to slap a few more rounds into the pistol, because it's a lightning fast pistol reload, the fastest in the game by a long way. Don't get too close. Inconsistency kills, so you want to make sure that you are as consistent as possible when you're playing as a shield. Don't approach situations differently. Just pick the optimal solution. Yeah, probably the best way to put it would be optimal solution, and just execute that every time. If it doesn't work, it's because you've done something wrong. It's not because it's not the right thing to do. So just practice and get used to using these different techniques, and pressure people into kill zones. If they're in a position where you're putting pressure on them and you're engaging but it's not safe enough to try and score the kill yourself, push them along and coerce them into a position where they're going to get themselves killed by your own teammates. So if you know someone's around the corner and they're waiting, they got 5.56 ready to fill their spines, then, you know, push them towards it. Might as well. You might not be getting the kill, but you're still contributing to your team. And if you are going to go solo shield, be incredibly wary of roamers, because everyone will hate you on your team if you aren't. Because you'll be the one who's the fat guy who has to say early on in the round, "Oh, sorry guys, I'm about to get interrogated because I wasn't paying attention and my shield's very loud so I couldn't hear Caveira's twinkle toes." So don't be in that position. Be aware, and if you're going to do it, try and avoid doing it when you've got a Cav going around the place. She's going to hear you coming a lot sooner than you would hear her, and the likelihood is you won't hear her over the sound of your big shield. So stick with your teammates. Try not to solo it unless you're feeling like a memer. But anyway guys, that's the fundamentals of shield play. Obviously, offensively, it's a lot of just practice. It's kind of hard to be good with the pistols to begin with, but once you get it, once you get your trigger finger on the go, it makes it a lot more simple. Particularly after the buffs that they made to pistol recoil, shield play has become a lot more fun and a lot more consistent, because you've not got the massive visual recoil when you're using the pistols. So give it a go. It's quite challenging, but if you can master the shield snap, you're going to have some fantastic clips. So just go for it, have fun, and I hope this video has been helpful. I'll go into some detail about Blitz and Fuse and Montagne later on down the line, but for now, I hope this helped you out when you play as shields. Do svidania, everybody. Bye-bye.